If you played before with previous red, blue, yellow, gold, silver or crystal versions of Pokémon, you'll see that Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire offer a great amount of new features, and I'm not only talking about technical improvement, thanks to the greater power of Game Boy Advance. Hoenn is a completely new world, with a novel history, where you'll find new challenges and trainers, as well as many surprises. A first example of the change is the remarkable improvement in graphical detail. Now you will be able to see how the characters are reflected in the water, how their footsteps are marked in the sand of beaches, how the ash of a volcano falls, or how a cave is covered by fog. The same is true of the soundtrack, which takes advantage of the powerful sound chipset of the Game Boy Advance console. Another thing that's different is the travelling around Hoenn. In the beginning, you'll be on foot, and later you will ride a bicycle just as in the other versions of the game. But in Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, you can ride two very different bicycles, each one with a different function. The Mac bicycle is very fast, and it will allow you to raise ramps and prevent you from falling into zones of fragile ground. And the Acro bicycle allows you to do acrobatics and to jump between platforms. The transportation doesn't stop here. You'll find boats and cableways amongst others, and in addition you will be able to use flight to return to places that you have already visited once you have obtained this ability. One of the main new features of Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire is the battle system of 2 against 2. Now it's possible to use 2 Pokémon at the same time when you encounter a couple of Pokémon trainers throughout Hoenn. As each Pokémon has its own characteristics of force and weaknesses, having 2 Pokémon fighting simultaneously changes the strategy that you need to use in battles, adding more fun. Thus, you'll have to consider that some of the opposite movements and attacks may just affect one of the Pokémon foes, whereas others, such as Surf, will affect both enemies at the same time. You must select the order of your Pokémon so that you start with a pair of Pokémon which complement each other perfectly. In addition, in Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, one of the most enjoyable aspects of the original game is extended. Now you can battle simultaneously against the Pokémon of 3 of your friends just by connecting your Game Boy Advance to their consoles with a link cable. On the first floor of all Pokémon centres, you will find a counter that leads you to the multiplayer battles. Most veteran Pokémon players will remember the Colosseums of previous editions. Now though, they've been improved, since there are 3 different modes. In normal battle, 2 trainers will combat with 1 Pokémon each time. In 2 vs 2 battle, they'll fight with couples of Pokémon against 1 player. The last mode is the multi-battle, where 4 players will fight in pairs. Each trainer handles one of the Pokémon that appears in combat. You will be able to see that certain functionalities have changed. In the case of the bag, which we'll use to take your items with you in the journey, it's been divided into 5 different pockets. In one of them you can take items of common use like potions or antidotes. In another one you will keep Pokeball of all kinds, whilst in another pocket you will keep the TM and the HM power-ups. In the other 2 sections you will keep the berries and the key items. Talking of berries, you'll find these hanging on a series of plants that you will be able to gather throughout all Hoenn. These berries have many uses. They allow you to recover energy, or cure a Pokémon when they've been poisoned. There's an important detail to take into consideration here. The berries do not grow alone. That's the reason why you will have to plant them again if you want them to grow again. If you add water to them with a special watering can, they will grow even faster. These berries also take a lot of importance in another one of the great new features of these two versions, since with them you will be able to create Pokéblock sweets that improve the statistics of your Pokémon. In order to create these sweets, which are obtained from the berries, you will have to go to the Pokémon contest halls and use the specially designed machines that you will find in reception. These machines can be handled by up to 4 trainers to create the Pokéblock sweets, but they need a minimum of 2 users to work. So you will be able to use them with characters in your own game, or you'll have to connect with 3 friends using a link cable. When the machine begins to turn, you will have to press the A button at the correct moment to accelerate the rotor, increasing therefore the quality of the Pokéblock. When the machine stops, each user or player obtains a Pokéblock. Now you will not only have to train your Pokémon in combat, but you'll also have to watch which Pokéblocks to give to them. Each Pokémon has its own tastes and their own temperament, and this is part of the other great surprise in Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, the Pokémon contests. In these special events, your Pokémon will be able to demonstrate that they are the best, within 5 different categories and 4 different competitions that you will find in different cities. It's a bit like Crufts. You will only be able to participate in a superior competition if you won in the previous ones. The public will judge the skill of your Pokémon, and you must excite them by choosing a suitable attack that's better than the one that your rivals are showing. The Pokémon that gets the most applause from the audience will be the winner. In order to help your Pokémon to victory, you must give them a new Pokéblock so they will improve their stats, gaining points when they face the public. Once you win these contests, you will obtain medals called ribbons, each one corresponding to the category in which you took part. During the adventure, you will be able to buy dolls, posters and decorations for your home. If you don't want to have all your items in your room, when you obtain certain abilities you can create a secret hideout in the most peculiar of places. In this way, you will find an important novelty in Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, since you can share your secret hideout with your friends, connecting the Game Boy Advance with a link cable in the corner record. When you have connected yourself, you will be able to see the bases of all your friends in your own cartridge. Ruby and Sapphire features a new function for your Pokédex. This new element of the device is called a Pokémon Navigator, Pokénav for short. Now, you don't start with a Pokénav, but once you get it, you'll find it invaluable. It includes a great map, so you'll never get lost in Hoenn again. It's got info about the cities, hideouts and other key places. You can also use it to check the condition of your prized Pokémon, helping you to choose the best one to enter into Pokémon contests. You can find out what ribbons you've collected and which Pokémon trainers you've already faced. More importantly, you can find which Pokémon trainers you've yet to face, and you'll even know where they are. Remember, everything that you've seen here is available, and much more, from game on Friday the 25th of July. Pokémon. Gotta catch 'em all.